Imagine why, Carja. Damien's just left me here, or he picked me up again yesterday, and we're about to. I'm about to start walking into Sligo. Um, we had a lovely morning. And we've had a swim in the sea, and that felt so good. And we had a lovely coffee again with Stacey, and my sister Angela and Laura were in having a swim with us with me. So it's been absolutely beautiful, and I've got my T-shirt on that Eamon and Bundoran bought me, or gave to me. So thanks, Eamon, you're a star, and I'll wear that most of the day. But when I was starting out, I wanted to when I was starting to walk, I'd said I wanted to dedicate the walk to someone or something Palestinian, and I hadn't always been able to do that. But I really, really, really want to do it this morning, and I dedicate my walk today to the children uh, who are being taken hostage and being murdered by the Zionists. I mean, they're suffering in so many ways, but I want to bear witness to the children that I came across being abused by that rogue state. And so on the 30th of December, they took us away, me, Bassanio and Elle, out of that valley, and we ended up in a police station on a floor. And we were blindfolded and zip tied and sitting on the floor. And into that room, they brought a young child. He was 12 years old, roughly. And with the blindfolds, you could kind of see underneath them a wee bit. And so between the three of us, we were getting glimpses of it. And that child, we were sitting on the floor, and the wee child had a T-shirt wrapped around his head. He had his hands zip tied behind his back. His feet were manacled. And he sat on the floor and he cuddled up to Bassanio. Bassanio's an Italian fella. And the wee fella grabbed onto Bassanio's leg. He probably thought he was a Palestinian, but for the next best thing. And he sidled up beside Bassanio and for some kind of comfort. And he wasn't there that long, and they were talking to him about TikTok, and that child probably just liked something or posted something that they didn't like. They went, raided his house and lifted him and brought him in. And that child was in that police station with no parents, no lawyer, no rights, nothing, with those psychopaths. And that wee child was on his own, and that wee child was terrified. And he wasn't long there when a policeman came in and kicked him on the leg and took him out. And, that's something you never will forget. And the second time when they arrested us, and they took four of us away to a police station, and that time we were handcuffed and manacled, but we weren't blindfolded, and they took us in their room. There were three teenage boys on the floor in there, so this is just another police station, and children blindfolded, hands zip tied, feet manacled. Oh, like the scale of this child abuse is shocking. And the wee fellas were sitting on the floor, and they were kind of sitting cross-legged, and they were blindfolded and everything. And this fucker of a policeman came in, and he grabbed the two of the wee fellas, and he grabbed them under the arms. And he carried those children out like they were bags of rubbish. And when he was going through the door, he banged one of them off the door frame, like, deliberately. And he dragged them children out of that room. They were about 16 years old, those wee fellas. They must have been terrified. Now, they were doing that knowing we were Westerners. They didn't care. We seen that there. What in God's name is happening? But like, when we're not there, where did they take those wee children to? What did they do when we weren't there? It's an aberration on humanity, that state, and what they are doing. And like, just to witness it is unbearable. And oh, that's 4 children we saw out of thousands and thousands of children. That state's abusing. And then that day when they arrested us, um, there's video footage of it. Like, this settler child was coming down into the Palestinian yard, and we blocked it off. But it was all coordinated with the army, and they had a drone and they were watching us. And he was on a donkey, and so we were, there was 4 of us activists, and we blocked him from coming down. And I pushed the donkey with my shoulder, didn't harm the donkey, pushed it with my shoulder, but we didn't even speak to the child. We just wouldn't let him come down into the yard. So he phones the army, and they come out and arrest us, and that was it. They took us away. But an hour or 2 hours later, the terrorist army went into the village of Almaguer, which is about half a mile away from where we were arrested. And they caused a whole raiding, and they do this all the time, like, and harassing the people, and the people were coming out of the mosque. And maybe it might even have been the same soldiers as were there arresting us. They murdered a 15-year-old boy at 14. I'm not sure if Muhammad was 14 or 15, but they shot the child dead outside the mosque. And his name was Muhammad Nassan. And when I heard that, it really tore me, because we were there. That army was up in that valley day in and day out, harassing the Abu Hamam family and chasing humanitarian activists, totally peaceful people, trying to catch them and deport them. They had arrested me. They come up with the charge of trying to strangle a donkey. That's what they said I had done, strangling a donkey. They put me through a whole process, took me away, fingerprints, DNAs, photographs, filling in reports, stamping. You know, the way the Nazis were great at doing paperwork, these crowds are the same. I went through this whole process and driving me around for 2 days and prisons, and how many of them were occupied doing that. And I often think, well, if they were doing that, at least some Palestinian child might have been a bit safer. And but they were harassing us and putting all that effort into because I was supposed to have strangled the donkey, but they went into the village and murdered a 15-year-old child. And there won't be one word about that child as far as they're concerned. There will be no investigations, there'll be no inquiries, there'll be no DNA tests, no reports, no stamps done for Mohammed Nassan. Because to them, that donkey that I'm supposed to strangle is worth 1,000 times more. It's worth 1,000 times more than Mohammed Nassan. Fuck them. So, I dedicate my walk to those specific children, and I dedicate my walk to all the children that are having to suffer this terrible fate, and the children, as we speak, that are in police stations all over occupied Palestine this morning, being abused and all the child hostages in the prison. And that's why we care. Slán.